Welcome to St. Augustine this evening, the Mike Davis Show. We got 3 shows left. We brought a powerhouse show today. We brought one that you guys are really going to love. I'm very excited about doing this. I asked this person to be in an interview like a month ago. They kept asking for more and more money. And finally they paid me. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's just, it's going to be a fun show. You guys are going to love this. Amanda's here with me today.
Hey guys.
You're very green today.
I'm very green.
You're very
it's not
green.
easy to be green.
You are green today.
Yeah.
You're just celebrating the fact
You're
that
green too,
homeschool.
just in like an OD green color.
Yeah, I'm like in an army drab kind of green color. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're much more vibrant.
Yes.
So homeschooling's over.
Well, like I said, we're like tailing off. So we had math and Latin today. Math, Latin, and reading for the little one.
And is that all finals and they're done?
No, it's just continuing lessons. It's getting closer to the end of the curriculum.
Okay.
Getting closer to it.
Getting closer.
Yeah.
But you celebrated yesterday.
That was the end of community. That was
All right.
community day is done. So now we're done when I say we're done. But I set a date on the calendar that we're not done by, or else we'd be done right now. I wouldn't do it anymore. But that would be shortchanging my children. So I set a date on the calendar and we're not done until that date.
I bet those kids hate that calendar right now.
They just want to know, honestly. They just want to know when the last day is. So if I don't have it posted, then I get asked every day, when are we done with school? How many more days of school? So
Are we there
now
yet,
it's
Mom?
just on the
Are
calendar.
we there yet, Mom? Are
It's
we
on
there
the
yet,
calendar.
Mom?
They know when it's going to happen.
Okay.
They finish school, they go away on vacation.
No early parole for your kids.
No.
Okay. All right.
No. Because then it would be every day. If it's a hard yes or a hard no, then there's no negotiating. If it's a maybe, then you are ruining your life. Parenting hack. Yes or no. Never give maybes. It's terrible.
Don't leave the door open.
It's terrible.
Don't
idea.
leave the door open.
They will negotiate, and it will drive you insane.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes or no. That's it.
We're going to do ads right now.
Yes.
We're going to do that. See how easy that was?
Yeah.
All right. Opening their doors in 2008, Brightway Insurance, the Casey Agency, has proudly stood by their customers through hurricanes, major floods, hail, and fires. Through these events, the agency has become a much-needed insurance resource in times of trouble and hardship. Honesty and integrity are the pillars of their core values, says Ashley Casey, and they pride themselves on being insurance experts while developing strategies that help their clients meet their insurance needs. They've insured this show from the day we started 13 years ago, and I think they're crazy enough to insure Troy's show that starts next week.
The coming time
The
slot?
coming time slot, yes.
The great transition. A to Z offers free estimates and have been serving St. Johns County for over 20 years in the construction industry. They offer painted metal roofs for saltwater area homes with warranties for up to 25 years. They do shingle roofs with warranties up to 50 years. They install tile roofing, cedar, shake shingles, designer roofing, and flat roof coverings. Recent job photos with material descriptions can be seen at AtoZRoofingandWaterproofing.com. Solar Stick. They were established in 2006. Solar Stick is a local portable power company proudly committed to American manufacturing, constant innovation, and creating jobs right here in St. Augustine, Florida. Solar Stick's focus on providing solutions for self-sufficiency helps users all over the world complete missions and save lives. Solar Stick, changing lives, saving lives, and reviving American manufacturing. I got cocky. And I was just looking at the camera, and then I was like, oh, I'm totally lost.
Well, you want to do it right. You want to do it perfect because we're closing down, and you're like, I got this. And then all of a sudden,
I don't want to bungle the last one.
Yeah, Abear, Kresge & Associates, they're a full-service local CPA firm with a team of skilled professionals dedicated to providing top levels of service in the areas of tax compliance, planning for businesses, individuals, estates, and trusts. If you need an audit, a review, or other accounting services, they can do that as well. If you need a business valuation, a forensic analysis, or litigation support, you can give them a call at 904-460-0747. Call Bill and Ken over at Abear Kresge, or go to them online at abearkresgecpa.com. They're almost recovered from a couple of weeks ago.
Are they?
Yeah, but there's a big deadline on the 1st, which is extended return. So they're working through that. So like if you're thinking they can extend your return and tomorrow's the 30th, they're probably going to have to, you better bring in a really small shoebox. Don't bring in a big U-Haul full of receipts because that's not going to be nice for them to try to put that together.
No.
And they'll charge you accordingly.
Yeah,
So then they should. As they should for working that hard. All right, we've got some amazing guests.
Mm-hmm.
So the Wheel restaurant has opened.
Yes.
And it is open next to Epic movie theaters.
I know. I was there today.
I think they're doing more business than Epic is, but we're going to find that out. because we have Andrea Krause and Tony Hessen from the original family that started the Cheese Wheel. Yeah. And so we got them in. You guys are awesome. I was so happy to go and have lunch with you guys a couple of weeks ago. And it really, truly, you have recaptured all of the feeling of that, the whole wheel experience. The food, the people, the service, you guys are awesome. So it is just real. And if you haven't been and you're new to St. Augustine, you get a chance to find out why we loved growing up here, because the food is just awesome. So welcome, Andrew.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yep. Tony, welcome to the show.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah. I know you guys worked hard all day. Was it busy today?
We did have a busy day today.
Did you have a problem client in there today?
I
Not
don't think
today.
I caused too many problems today.
That is a first.
I know.
That is a first. What did you have?
I had the Italian sub, meat and cheese with mayo, no Italian dressing, no veggies. It's delicious.
It's all awesome. It's all awesome. Yes.
And they didn't even mind my special order. They were very
No,
nice.
we try to get people what they want.
Yeah.
So you guys like you've inherited a family reputation for restaurants. And I know what that feels like. So as a third generation contractor, people look at you like, well, you're either genetically predisposed to be able to do this business, or there's nothing else that you can do and you ended up here. So I know you guys are genetically predisposed. I'm still working through the other part of it after 40 some years. But so tell us about your family. How did you guys get here? What restaurants did you open? What were you involved in? Give us a little history of the Hessen family.
The Hessen family. Okay. I do want to share this with Tony, but do you want to start or do you?
I think you've got a pretty good
I actually
idea
have
around that.
a love of learning more about my ancestors. So I actually have asked a lot of questions of people and have gotten some pretty cool answers. My dad's family originated, their grandparents immigrated to the United States and ended up in the New Jersey area.
Where'd they come from? What part of Europe?
He had my great grandma who lived to be 96. She lived here in St. Augustine. And she was from Italy. And that is mostly who raised my dad and his older brother, because their parents died when they were pretty young. And so she really took primary care of them. So there's a lot of that heritage that especially in the food that we grew up eating because he was raised by her. His grandfather came from Ireland and they married each other. Okay. And then he had on the Hessen side, the Hessen name comes from Czechoslovakia. So they came over from there. So, and they're really hard to track down because they did not speak the language. It's like an X next to their name when I was looking into it.
Yeah.
So you got to X.
Yeah.
And then they're like,
it
here's
kind of
all the other
stops.
X's.
It's really hard. But then
Yeah.
I learned, my Uncle George did tell me, I mean, we won't go too far into it, but they came to America by way of Argentina. So maybe I need to look down there before looking back or whatever. So, so they ended up in the North Plainfield area. And like I said, they lost their parents young. My dad was 7 when his father died, and he was 17 when his mom died. So he was the baby of the family. And my Uncle George and Uncle Mike really kind of started to really look out for their younger brothers. And there's Bob, too. He's just above my dad. They actually graduated the same year because they just did. They're only like a year apart. So Uncle George came here with Aunt Alice on their honeymoon, I believe is how the story went.
Okay.
And they loved it so much, they just decided that the family needed to move here. And so they all came. I think Uncle Mike was the last holdout. But they all came to St. Augustine. They all ended up here.
And they ended up here in the 70s.
Yes,
which
they did.
St. Augustine was a really, really different community. I mean, you guys are much younger than me, so I'll tell you what the 70s were like. Right? So when it got dark, the downtown was closed. They would literally roll up the streets around dark. There was a couple of places that would be open after hours, but that was it. And that happened all the way up into the 90s and the early 2000s. And then we started getting a lot of tourists. All the things we wished for happened. So, but yeah, it was a much quieter town, and it was a much smaller town back then.
And they had run a restaurant in North Plainfield where they were from. And when they got here, they did try their hand at something new, but it didn't really go. So they went back into restaurants. And at one point they owned 4, including the Cheese Wheel and Sandwich Board.
What were the other 3?
They owned Alicia's over on the island. Alfonso's, which was like down near, US 1 South. And then another one we know of was called Alfredo's. We're not sure exactly where that was at. But yeah, those were the 3 Italian joints they own, and then the cheese wheel.
And I may or may not have worked at Alfredo's for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's what
we talked about it before the show. I'm not 100% sure because you don't know where it was, but yeah, I definitely did.
We'll ask Uncle George. He'll know.
He's probably saying it right now. He's like, "Come on, it was right here, right here." How many times have we?
I remember that kid. I threw him out of my restaurant. No, did not get thrown out of the restaurant. No. So did you guys grow up at all in the restaurant business? Did they make you work in it at all? Or did you guys get to kind of miss that a little bit?
Yeah, we definitely missed that. By the time we were of working or close to working age, legal working age anyways. Yeah, they were out of the restaurants, but our uncle owned Osteen's restaurant over there. And I started working for him when I was like 19.
Yeah, Lonnie Pomar is just a great guy.
Yeah.
Just an absolutely wonderful, the whole family.
Yeah.
I mean, just awesome. And we talked about you're the person that looks like you, Lauren. So yeah, I mean, Lauren Lath is awesome. So.
Well, one thing, Stacy, our sister Stacy, who couldn't be here, unfortunately, she has to be in Hawaii right now.
Heartbreaker.
Sacrifices. Some people just got to make sacrifices.
She actually, she worked at the cheese wheel under my aunt. Anthea.
Yeah.
She worked there for
about a year, I think.
About a year. Yeah. So she's actually got more cheese wheel experience than us.
Than the rest of us. Yeah.
Well, that was, I mean, on the north end of town, that was it.
My experience was walking in the back door and asking for a sandwich and sitting in a chair in the office.
You guys, I bet you got the best service.
Oh yeah, our cousin Monica definitely spoiled us growing up, and Aunt Nancy would hand you like 4 different kinds of candies as you walked out the door.
You had the cheese wheel up here, Barrancadas, which was over on Volano, and then it wasn't until Schooners opened up in the 90s that you had anything else that was on the north end of town, really. Yeah. I mean, there was one restaurant, and I can't remember the name of it. My mom did the books for it. It's where the CVS is now. There was a restaurant right there on that corner. And I'd love to be able to tell you the name of the restaurant, but I can't remember the name of it right now.
Somebody will put it in the comments.
Somebody will put it in the comments, or at about 3:00 in the morning, I'll wake up and go, that's the name of it. So, yeah. But no, it is. So, Osteen's, worked there, no restaurant experience.
I've eaten in a lot of restaurants.
Just a lot of experience.
I like good food.
You like good food? So, what made you decide to open up the restaurant?
This is Tony's idea, honestly. He's the reason we're here today, guys. You can thank him.
Tony, thank you. I want to thank you.
No problem.
The bottom of my stomach wants to thank you.
It was just one of those things. Being in the restaurant business, I see a lot of people who are hungry talking about, and working at Osteen's too. A lot of locals go in there, and that's one of those places as well. But it seemed like not. If it wasn't every day, it was every other day that I'd hear from someone saying, man, I wish I could get a turkey rider, or man, that chicken salad cheese wheel used to have was so great. And I was like, I think we could probably make this work. So I text my sisters in a little group chat and said, hey, what do you guys think about this idea? And we can call it this and do this and that. And I mean, within minutes, I think both of them responded with a yes and exclamation points, and everybody got pretty excited pretty quickly about it. So,
well, and I think a lot of families like, don't open a restaurant, but your family's like, this is the best idea you've ever had.
It depends on who you talk to. My husband, when I told him, he came home and I said, look at this text I got from Tony. And he said, oh, Andrea, for the love of all that is holy, make him do that. Those were his words. Mm-hmm. So from the minute, my husband, who's very much a skeptic and doesn't take risks, was 100% in, which for me was kind of like, okay, we can do this. Like the guy who would tell me to slow down is telling me to jump in. And I think that some of our family was a little hesitant when we told them, probably our parents more than anyone, just because they want to see us be successful and they know how hard it is. And, they had their parent hat on a little bit. But I really do think that everyone, as we started building some momentum and it really went from an idea to this is going to happen, our parents were amazing. They have helped so much from, building things, showing up to give rides to our kids, take our dogs places. They have just been really, really supportive, and our extended family as well. I love at least once every 10 days, I look over and Uncle Bob is standing there just watching everything go down kind of from the back. And Uncle George and Uncle Mike and Aunt Auntie especially have been just really big cheerleaders. They have given advice, but very little of it was unsolicited. They answered our questions, and we're really grateful for their knowledge for sure.
How long ago did you have the idea? How long did it take from getting an idea to finding a place?
I think that text message was what, January
January
last
of
year?
2024, yeah.
And then I don't think we started really getting things in motion until, I don't know, a couple months after that.
Yeah, we started talking and realizing that we really did want to move forward. By July, we got a loan. We found a place, started working with a contractor. That kind of was slow.
You got to watch out for contractors.
Well, it wasn't a
Being one, I'm
contractor.
just telling you.
Yeah, no, it's just
I think just
way
the
things go.
permitting and the way things go, everything took a lot longer than we thought, which was fine. But we opened in January of 2025, so it was a year from the time Tony sent that message to the time we were able to open.
How did you pick the spot? Because I think you've got a phenomenal location, right? I mean, and I would have, if you had told me, I know the pizza place did really good there, the Old Mall Pizza, De Leon's Pizza. I thought it did good there, but I think you guys have hit the jackpot. The growth out of that area is off the charts. I mean, 10 years ago, you could get up and down 207 pretty easily.
Oh,
I
yeah.
mean, now 207 is crazy busy with traffic and people. And just like I said about North City, there wasn't a lot out there. There's not a lot out there in that area. You're in a phenomenal spot.
Well, we were talking about
like
this on the way over here. How we found it. Is that your question?
Yeah.
I mean, we feel like it kind of found us.
We do.
We were looking at a unit over on State Road 16, kind of in the same plaza as the Press originally. And, it just didn't quite feel right. It was one of the first places we looked at, maybe.
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot, to be honest. The property that was available, there was always something that was like, this isn't going to work or this isn't going to work. And that was kind of the best of what was out there at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we had gotten as far as to contract negotiations, and we all just kind of had that feeling that it just wasn't right.
Yep.
And I said, let's just go back to our real estate agent, who is Robin Arnold, who is amazing. And he was definitely a big reason why we are where we are.
Yeah.
Because he is just really good at what he does. And when we went back to him, I said, do you have anything else? Like, I felt like we had looked at everything. He said, you're not going to believe it.
Yeah.
This came available today. He goes, do you want to look at it? And
Yeah,
we said,
it wasn't even out, like, in the whatever.
yeah, it
what did
wasn't,
say?
people didn't really
Listed?
know yet, So we said, yes, we do. And we ran into a little hiccup trying to look at it. Do you remember that? I feel like we had an appointment and then it didn't work out for them to meet us. And then we
yeah.
were getting nervous because, like, a lot of
Yeah.
other people wanted to look at it too.
Yeah, I think it was just they weren't quite prepared to open the door for people to come look at it yet. Because it was still, like, the pizza place, whatever had happened, they pretty much just had to get up and get out. So, I mean, when we showed up, there was still, pizza toppings all in the coolers and dough in the cooler still. And they were
We're
in a
glad they
rough
paid their light
position.
bill because we had to clean all that stuff out once we got
those
the keys.
refrigerators. But yeah, I think we looked at it on a Wednesday and we signed for something by like Friday probably.
Yeah.
Like we had just all kind of like, a few weeks went by when we were negotiating at the other place, and then all of a sudden this just boom, boom, boom. Felt right.
But it's like you looked at enough places you knew.
Yeah.
Right? You just said, so you said it found you.
Yeah, it felt
I mean,
better.
It really
It
did.
felt right.
Yeah.
I think, like you said, location and where we're at too, I think beneficial for the locals and for the citizens here. Like, it's slightly removed from that downtown tourist area, and it makes it a lot easier for people to get in and get out. And we see the same faces almost, every other day. Some people.
Yeah. Some we see almost every day.
Yeah. So, I think that is also a bonus. Just kind of being separate from the hustle and bustle of downtown and all those big restaurants down there.
You guys got a great menu. And yeah, you are out of that hustle and bustle, right? It is a place where locals can go where they don't have to fight to get downtown. Because there's certain times of the year, there's so many tourists downtown, you can't get down there anymore. I mean, it's different than when we were kids. I mean, I kind of people say, well, how's traffic today? I said, well, it's the 4th of July traffic when I was a kid, right? That's what it is today. It's Easter traffic when I was a kid. It's more daily than once a year. But on the menu, what's some of the favorite things that, like, the biggest order items? I mean, I talk to people, and turkey rider is always one of them. Chicken salad, if you can get the chicken salad. I gave up for years on the Ulster, because you like walk in and be like, we're out.
We have a board behind the register, and if you see chicken salad written on there, we're out.
Yeah.
We're out.
I think after the first couple weeks, they got me to like, I started putting more out there. Like, we're making more of it.
We
so
still
we can
run
sell,
out, though.
Yeah, we definitely run out, but it's, instead of it being 11:30, it's more like 1:30.
That's a really cool thing, right? Because you're telling, if you want this, you got to get here early.
Yeah.
I think it's a good.
Some people roll with that punch, others don't so much.
Yeah.
I'm like, sorry.
Well, like you said, our menu, we've got a lot of good things
Yeah,
on
I
it,
agree.
and that kind of, I think that helps people. Like, it's like if you come get the chicken salad every day, you don't try anything else, and you get there and it's not there, then you still got plenty of other options to choose from. So,
But Turkey Rider's definitely probably our best seller, would you say?
Definitely.
And we do often run out of the chicken, sell out of the chicken salad, sell out of the tuna salad. We did today. Today was Tuna Tuesday. We
Our
sell out of
Reuben.
the egg salad a lot of days. The Reuben, one time we sold out of that. Everybody wanted one day.
Yeah, that's probably one of the different items that's not like in the rider collection that I would say is probably
It's very
our
popular.
popular items. Yeah.
So what are the days of the week? You said Tuna Tuesday. So
yes.
what are the specials, the days of the week?
Every day there is a daily special, and that comes with, for $12.95, you get your sandwich, chips, and a drink.
Mhm.
Okay, so you're basically getting your chips for free. Okay, we could put it that way. Monday's ham and cheese rider, Tuesday's tuna rider, Wednesday is the Italian sub, Thursday is Chef's Choice, which I want Tony to talk about in a minute. Friday is Papa's Meatball Sub, which is our dad's meatballs. He makes them. We tried a lot of different kinds of meatballs, and none of us liked them because we are spoiled by our dad. And so we just said, Dad, can you do this? And he said yes. And so he picked Friday. That's why it's on Friday. Saturday is the New Yorker, which is a really good hot sandwich that comes on an onion roll with ham and roast beef and cheese, and it's just really, really yummy. But I want Tony to talk about Thursday, because we Chef's Choice was his idea. So.
Well, it just opens up for opportunities. It is people are like, oh man, you should make a sandwich like this, or you should do this. And then so now we have it to where on Thursdays it can it rotates in and out. We have like our French dip is what we started with originally. We did that every Thursday. Then when we changed the menu, we moved it over to that. This way we could do things like the Super Rider. Or last week we did the chicken sandwich?
We did the chicken sandwich. That was my
just,
request. It was so good.
Yeah, fried chicken breast sandwich. This week we're doing what we're calling a club rider. It's going to be turkey, bacon, and ranch, plus lettuce, tomato. Instead of mayo, we're doing the ranch. But it gives us more opportunity to have some fun in the kitchen and do something different and try something unique. Things. Whether they're hit or miss, we'll figure that out later. But if it's a no-go, then we know. It's rather than like starting to add stuff to the menu, it kind of gives us that opportunity to bring something different in.
Because people will come in and ask for something that was on the original menu, and that menu had a lot on it. She was open for 30 years, so she probably worked into that. And we're starting with what we know people want the most, and learning as we go. And this gives us a chance to really see what people want, what the demand is, and gives, like Tony said, some creativity back there for them to come up with some new things for the wheel and this our generation and what we're doing.
So Desert Rider, did you guys have is the Desert Rider
the Camel
on the menu?
Rider?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a Camel Rider or the
Yeah.
Desert. I grew up on a Desert Rider. I don't know how many of those I ate. Was our.
That's
I would say the rider.
the rider is what that is. Yeah, it's ham, salami, and
Yeah,
turkey.
that's it.
Yeah. It's very good.
Yeah, we got. Well, we were talking before the show because I grew up much smaller town. We had Millie's downtown that had the pita sandwiches. We had Cousins, which was on St. George Street, which had pita sandwich, and you had the cheese wheel out on north of town, and then all of a sudden they were all gone. There was dope pita sandwich, and I would explain this to people about
And the pita at the grocery store is just not
no,
the same.
It doesn't work with you.
no, it's not. It really, I mean, I don't know where you're getting this high class pita bread from. I don't know if you've got like some
Trade
Greeks out there. I
secrets.
mean, but the stuff that you try to buy at the grocery, it just falls apart. You can't make a good sandwich with it. I've tried. I have failed miserably. I would not. You should never hire me, even with the really good bread you have. Like Mike, we've had you back here for an hour making sandwiches. You still haven't completed one yet. So yeah, I mean, it's just the bread is some of the best. It's just so good. So yeah.
That was the best day.
Yeah.
The
Oh, yeah.
bakery bread day with all the taste testing and walking through a warm, big oven, basically, where they're baking all these different kinds of breads. And we'd say, oh, that looks good. And our friend George would just, here, take it. He just throws us some bread. And
Yeah.
I was like, man, I need a job here. It was great. That was one of my favorite
One of your
days, getting
favorite
things
testing
going.
days?
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
So what's been one of the, new business, what's been one of the most fun things that's happened to you in running this new business, like, that you didn't expect to happen, but you're like, this has just been really cool. Aside from coming on this show.
We might have different
Dang, that's
answers.
what I was gonna say.
What do you? I thought of one, but I think we might have different answers. Do you want to go first?
I mean, I think just because I'm so used to being back of house and not really seeing the customer base,
Mhm.
and the way we got things set up, we have the little service window where the food goes out, and we can see the entire dining room from the kitchen. And just like I said earlier, seeing some of the same faces either every other day, or people I went to school with, or people my friends coming in and like, oh, Tony, that was great, and they wouldn't be coming in every other day if the food wasn't halfway decent. There's only so many times you can come in and say that you're just trying to support us, You're coming in now because you enjoy the food. But yeah, just seeing the return customers and seeing how happy they are, and that's what got me in the restaurant business to begin with, is how simple it can be to make somebody's day. People, especially, like I said, I was working downtown, and people would remember that on their vacation, or same with Osteen's, like people would come to town once a year, and they'd have to go there, they'd have to go here, and it's just being on that level of satisfaction. That's all I got though.
I love it. My answer is similar, but a little bit different. One of the things, and maybe it's because of my background, because I've done a lot of things with people, and relationships are really important to me. Helping people repair their relationships as a therapist, and I like to connect to people. And the community that I feel like we're trying to build, it's showing up. When we talked about it, we really missed this.
Mhm.
We had so many fond memories. Our dad was probably just there fixing the ice machine every Friday night, but so were we.
Yeah.
Getting soda on tap.
Mhm.
They used to make pizza back then. We were just living it up. We had all these great memories, and turns out so did so many other people.
Mhm.
And it's been really amazing to see them come in, and they'll say things like, oh my goodness, it tastes just like it used to, or I feel like I'm 8 again, or there were these ladies that came in yesterday and they got it to go, but they didn't even make it out the door before they decided they wanted to eat it. And they're sitting there. And one lady, she comes back up. She goes, I need another one to take home with me. She goes, it's as I remembered it. And I need to take another one home. And, just little moments like that. And in addition to that, not just about the food, but they come in and they see people they haven't seen in 20 years.
Yeah.
And they're hugging and they're walking around the room, and it's a reunion happening. I just feel like St. Augustine feels like a small town again
Mhm.
inside the wheel. And that's really cool. That's probably my favorite part for sure. The
Yeah,
community.
I think both of you nailed it. And when I went the first time, I walked in, I said, oh my gosh, this is all the people I used to eat lunch with all the time.
Yeah.
Right. And hadn't seen them in a long time. And some of it too, you kind of think about what we came off of for a couple of years there, where you weren't allowed to go out and you didn't go meet. And people are just really glad to see all their old friends back in familiar places. And inside the wheel is one of those familiar places, right? Where you're eating and you're getting to see people again. And because there's a whole bunch of, construction work guys that you would just run into in my industry at a whole bunch of different local restaurants. And quite a few of those don't exist anymore. So having you guys is it's been awesome to be able to go in there. And I think I told you that the first time. I was like, hey, thanks for bringing back some really good memories for me, because it really was awesome. I mean, it was just fun to, and I think I was by myself the first time I
Yeah,
went
you're
in.
at the counter. I remember
I was at the
talking to
counter.
you.
It was a little spot, but I ran into like 20 people I knew, and it was awesome. It was great. So it was really, really fun. So yeah, you guys have absolutely knocked that out of the park. My only comment was, if you could just give me a Peterson's donut for dessert. If we could just nail
Yeah,
it. Listen,
figure that out.
I'm all in. I'll be a financial supporter of the Peterson donut. I'm telling you right now. Like, I get a call, it's Andrea, we need this much money to do this. It's like, I'll be there tomorrow with the check.
Done.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys had that memory as kids, but it was just like, that was just one of the coolest places to go get a donut as a kid.
Absolutely.
It was just so much fun. Any big plans coming up? I mean, are you just still going to stay lunch only? Going to maybe branch out into, because I'm trying to figure out, now I got to go to matinees on the weekends or on Saturday so I can get a sandwich into the movie theater. I've snuck a lot of things into the movie theater. Now I got to sneak one of your sandwiches in. So
Don't get us in trouble with our neighbors.
No,
I already have my little candy counter, and I'm like, oh, I'm selling $2 candy over here next to the movie theater. They're probably going to hate me for that.
Suddenly realizing that it's a very profitable enterprise.
Now that you're promoting it.
Yeah, now that I've told everyone that it's there. I don't know. We definitely have had people tell us we're missing out on not being open after 4 because of the movie theater.
Mhm.
And it is not lost on us that people probably want to come in. We've had some of them try to come in. My sister has 4 children. I have 5. And I like being home by 5 o'clock because I have a whole nother job that I do when I get home. But we never say never, right? I never thought we'd do this, but here we are. And so, I mean, we have definitely talked about ideas. I don't know if you want to share any of them here, because nothing has a green light yet. But
well, I mean, with us taking over the De Leon location, we inherited pizza oven, and pizza is also something that's been a part of our family. So I worked at Pizzali's downtown on St. George Street for almost 10 years, and I loved cooking pizza. That was like one of my favorite things to do. So it's a thought that hopefully we'll get back to it and maybe be able to do something with that. But that's what I would like to do in the evenings, is have a separate pizza menu, still have a few sandwiches on there, but then kind of move more into that. And I think it would also work well for the night crowd, but we'll see.
Yeah,
we'll see.
No promises.
There'll definitely be a Hesson's New Year's Eve party. Our family used to hold one every year at the Cheesewell, and Auntie would do it. And because she had a pizza oven in the back, because they used to do pizza, and we would have a pizza party. Staff and their families were invited. All the Hessons were there. Some of the Pomars were there, and we would just have a party after hours. And my dad took it over. It was at his home for the last 10 years. This year, he was kind of like, I can't do this anymore. It's a lot of work for them. But this coming year, we're going to definitely reignite that. But you have to be a Hesson or a Pomar or an employee at the wheel to come. But we have talked about it for the general population. We'll see what we can do.
Listen, I think that's absolutely awesome. What are your hours? One of our guys, Bobby, wants to know the hours.
We are open 10:30 to 4 Monday through Saturday.
Okay.
So we are closed on Sundays.
And I was impressed with both of you throughout this entire interview. But when you told me you had 5 kids and you started a restaurant, you might be my new hero. I mean, that's just Amanda over here is like, what?
4 of them are on the payroll. So they wash dishes like champions.
Nice.
Well, that was part of growing up in a family business, is you were on the payroll. And Tony mentioned earlier, he's like, yeah, when I was on the family payroll, right?
Yeah.
Which was like $1 an hour. And when you were a little kid, you thought that was great.
Yeah.
And then you grew up a little, you'd be like, I'm only making $1 an hour.
They're working for Mozzie sticks in the
Yeah,
afternoon.
exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
And now we're teaching them how to cook it themselves. So
Yeah, Landon comes in and cooks his Mozzie sticks and then eats them.
Yeah.
My oldest is 17. I have a 15-year-old, a 14-year-old, 12-year-old daughter. She's the only girl, and a 10-year-old.
And does she run everything? I have one daughter as well, and 3 boys. And
She tries, but they don't really give her much of an edge.
the birth order, mine was the oldest, so she was a little
number
bit
4,
bigger
so
than them for a
she's-
while. So yeah,
she's little.
Yeah. She will become much more forceful as she gets older. I'm
I've
going to let
already
you know that.
seen the beginning of that.
Yes.
She is wonderful. My kids are great. They've been so excited about this. There have been some of our best marketers. They talk to everyone about the wheel. You got to come to the wheel. and they love being there. They do, and I'm really grateful that they're so supportive, because it definitely has taken their support in order for me to feel like I can really be a part of something like this. So.
Well, but I think that's awesome. And the lessons you're teaching them about entrepreneurship and hard work and service and how to run things, all those lessons are invaluable. I mean, those are just, they're absolutely amazing that they're getting to experience all that. And you guys both experienced that, right? You went through all of that with your family. And so
in a way,
a little bit. By the time we were of working age, my first job was at Publix for $4.75 an hour, I think.
Yeah, I worked out of the Outlaw for like
At
$6.25.
the Gap
Yeah.
factory outlet, I remember that.
what did you make in your first job per hour?
I was hostess, so I think I was like $4.25 plus tips.
You guys were the
Yeah.
rich kids.
So but we do have some entrepreneurs in the family. Like Stacy also worked for my uncle David when he owned and operated Mariotti's Laundry.
Mm-hmm.
And so she did work for him. She probably has the most experience.
I was
going
gonna say, I got to work for Mariotti's
Did
too.
you work for Mariotti's?
Yeah, I got to drive around the big box van and pick up. I'd pick up and drop off at all the satellite locations, and I would do it after school, which was fun because sometimes I'd be in traffic and I look over and there's somebody I had chemistry with just waving at me. I'm like, hey, like here I'm driving this big old van I don't belong in, basically, or at least it just didn't fit,
my mom was at the sheriff's office for 30 years. My dad worked for Arnett
Yeah.
for 35 years, and we definitely used to show up
Drew?
at work. Drew,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and Becky, our mom.
Oh no, Drew and I go way back. So
Sounds like there's some good stories about
there's
it.
some
Yeah,
great
we'll
stories
have to
there.
talk
Drew is
after.
absolutely awesome.
You invite him to the New Year's
Oh
party.
my gosh, I know. Drew and Charlie and Gerard. I mean,
Okay.
just Geiger. When Geiger retired, I cried.
Geiger.
I used to walk in and drop stuff off at Geiger when I was 16 years old and pick it up, the next day. And because I was the delivery guy for our company during the summer, which was a pretty cool job, which you would never give a 16-year-old a job driving a delivery truck for construction now. And then my dad would give me directions how to get to play. There was no, MapQuest. None of that existed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd get directions how to go to Jacksonville. They'd be off by a street or two. And it was the difference between living and dying. I mean,
Yeah.
you're driving through neighborhoods going, I'm in a car that no one wants to steal, so I'm probably okay, right? It's not a nice truck. It's just an old delivery truck. I should be fine. So
I love it.
yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, you guys all got overpaid in your first job. I was $3.25.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We win.
but I did think I was the richest kid in the world when I got 40
You are
hours.
slightly older, so inflation.
I'm not slightly older. I had probably had a couple of you guys up, and I still got you. So yeah,
no,
I'm more
maybe.
than When I say I went way back with Uncle Drew, she's like, "Oh God, I didn't know he was that old."
Yeah.
Yes.
Way back.
No. Or Dad Drew. So yeah, but no, you come from an absolutely awesome family.
Yeah, we really do.
Yeah.
We're very fortunate, both the Pomar side of our family and the Hessen side. They're wonderful people, and they show up for each other, and we
Mhm.
learned how to show up for each other. And that's probably my other favorite part. Not to sound too hokey, I am the oldest sister, and I can get a little sentimental, but I really love working with my brother and my sister. I mean, we don't always agree, and we have, we don't always see things the same way, but I think we communicate fairly well. Don't know if Tony's shaking it, which way to shake
No, I'm
his
taking
head.
it up and down. Because
The smart answer is yes right now.
I've seen a lot of arguments start over.
I mean, Tony's worked for some family businesses, so he definitely, people are like, don't get in business with your family. I know he got that advice a lot, but here we are.
I did, actually. They said first thing is don't open a restaurant. Second thing, don't open one with your family. And I said, all right, I'm done with my questions with you. I'm going to talk to somebody else about this.
So, but I think we're really fortunate. We were really raised to we're friends with each other. That group chat used to have a lot of memes in it. Now we talk a lot of business, but the memes still show up, and we have the same sense of humor. I love making a joke at work, and I can just catch my sister's eye at the register or look at Tony through the window, and it's just like, we get each other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I had to be gone for a couple of days right after we opened with something that was already on my calendar, and I just missed them. It's really unique. You grow up and you're in the same house your whole life, and then you go to college and everybody kind of goes their separate ways. And although you see each other on holidays and even, more often than that, because we all live in the same town, I don't know, getting to be with them as much as I get to be with them is really special to me.
That is very
And I really like them and love them. So That's my other favorite part.
And I got to tell you, if you come to me and ask that question, I am like the world's worst. I tell people, like, everyone says, don't work with your family, right? So I worked with my dad. I had a brother that was in the business for a while. I have a cousin on my dad's side who runs all our field operations, a cousin on my mom's side who runs all our office operations. I've worked with them for over 20 years. Our secretary, office manager, she's married to one of my cousins. I mean, I have 2 boys that work in the business. I'm the voice, like, people are like, don't work with family. Oh, really? Let me say how many I got. I said, and then the ones that are with us for 15, 20 years, they're like family. It's like they become family, and it's just, and I'm sure you guys had workers that have been at the wheel for forever, and you're like, these guys were just awesome. And you felt like
everyone who's with us started with us pretty much. And I do feel that way, and, for instance, somebody had to leave early because of a sick kid, or, somebody lost someone recently. And, I just sent a message like, just thinking about you. Hope it goes well today. Or how's your daughter feeling? And they respond back, and they're kind of surprised that I sent that message, I think. But they feel like they're part of us. I mean, I feel that way even with the back of house crew that I don't see them as much as the front of house crew, but those people are now our people. And I really do feel that way. And we really have some amazing people working for us. And there's something about each and every one of them that is special. And they're part of the family now, honestly.
Yeah, there was a story, a good friend of mine who I worked with, her daughter worked for a company in Jacksonville for 20 years and lost a family member. And because she was one day over on her vacation that year, they docked her the day she went to the funeral for the family member. She quit the next day.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't ever want to be that boss. So I tell all guys, everybody that works for us, I said, we spend a lot of time here away from our families. And so if something comes up that's family related, I know you're going to make it up. I know you're going to work the hours. I know you're going to get your job done, but go be with your family, right? Yeah. Go spend time with them. If it's somebody that has young kids and they go, I just need an hour to go to a program, go. Because your kids are always going to remember you showing up.
Yeah, and we've done that already.
Yeah.
There's a play on a Friday. Can I be first out? Can I leave at 2? And I haven't said no yet, and I don't feel like anyone's taken advantage of it yet either. And I really hope that, we'll get to see some of their kids grow up. That would be really cool. Yeah.
Because the old school response was, no, you can't go. Right. I mean, it was, that's just the way it was. I mean, when I was a kid growing up, it was that way. And but now you look at it, and I think people are, I don't have a single employee that I know doesn't work past 5 or 6 o'clock because the phone never stops ringing, and they never stop getting texts, and they never stop getting emails, right? When we left the office, when I was in my 20s, you left the office. Somebody had to call you at home. You didn't have a cell phone, and it was awesome. And now, 11 o'clock at night, you're getting messages. You have to go fix something. Like, I'm going to go fix something. It's 11 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I'm going. So, yeah. So maybe pizza, which I'm really kind of excited about. Yeah. It's really kind of, just got to tell you, I was very, very excited about that. So when the first day you guys opened, were you like nervous? We're going to open this up. Is anybody going to show up? Like an hour before open, how nervous were you?
Oh, I can't even explain how nervous I was.
I was so nervous.
Me being the one with the restaurant experience. I mean, I know we probably all felt the same way, that we felt like everything was on us, but there was times where I was like, I know if something goes on or is not going to go right, like they're coming to me for that question.
That's true.
So
it was on you. Let's be real. Like, let's not even, you don't have to be modest. Every time, even my husband and I'd say, I don't know what we're going to do about this. And my husband said, Tony will know what to do. I was like, okay, yeah, he will know what to do. And Tony's like, I don't know what to do. But we had a lot of confidence in Tony, and that is well-earned confidence. He deserves it. And he has done a phenomenal job, I think, really. The pressure in the back, that it will be what people want. Mm-hmm. I think that he and his crew have really stepped up. And there are things I think we have done a little better with, if you get it to go, you're getting you're just with the to go, you're getting your dressing on the side so you don't get a soggy sandwich. So, I think that that's an improvement. I wouldn't want to eat a soggy sandwich. So we're really trying to mitigate that. But
so when you open the first day, how long?
We got off topic.
Was it like a little bit of people, or was it just like mad rush when you opened the door?
When we talked about opening, we had our health inspection that we didn't really know which way that was going to go. We got the approval on Thursday, and I said, I'm sending an email, because I had built up this email list through our social media over the last several months. And I think there are about 400 people on there. And I thought, I'm only telling them. I did not post it on our pages. I did not put it on our website. I emailed those, I call them our ride or dies. I take
I
credit.
love that. That's a great, that's
I'll
awesome.
take credit for that one.
Yeah.
But I was pretty proud of it. But I sent them an email and I said, shh, ride or dies only. We're going to be open Friday and Saturday. And then I announced grand opening Monday on Sunday night. So after Friday and Saturday, I said we're opening Monday to the public on all the socials and stuff. And we had a line out the door on Saturday.
Yeah.
And it is still probably our highest grossing day without even having told anyone. It blew my mind. And so we didn't really get to ease into anything. We really were in that deep end of the pool. And that first few weeks, if you would have tried to talk to us, I mean, I think we were a little shell shocked, honestly, because we wanted it. I mean, that's a good problem to have. I maybe would have been even more stressed if people weren't coming in the door.
For sure.
But it did surprise us. We were surprised, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we
we
were
knew
running
people
out of stuff. We were calling our Boar's Head guy and our Cisco gal. We're like, help us. We need another truck tomorrow, because we ran out. Tony's like, I got to go slice another turkey. And he's like back there slicing another turkey. And I mean, I think we sold over 100 turkey riders that first Saturday.
That first Saturday was over 100.
Listen, I think I hadn't heard that, so I think it's absolutely awesome that is. And really, you guys had to you probably worked your tail off the entire day.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you're like, maybe we're onto this. Maybe this restaurant thing was a good idea.
Well, it was funny. We just were making lists that first week with the staff too. They were great. We're like, we need this, we need this, we need this. And then my sister's just sending things. She came in with a mini fridge, which we needed, and for the to-goes. And I mean, we were just bringing in new things every day based on these lists that our employees were like, we need this, we need that. And I was like, yeah, we do need that. Why didn't we think of that? And, we were just, every day we were there after hours. My husband was finishing painting. We still need a second coat. I'm going to have to figure that out. But it was definitely a team effort. And
well, the place is great. And like I said, the atmosphere is phenomenal. And a lot of that is your staff. I mean, when I sat there the first day, I had 3 people come up and try to take my order. Right. So I've been to restaurants.
They're a little overzealous.
No. I think that's awesome because I've sat in restaurants before and you're like, does anybody know I'm here? Am I going to stay here for like 2 days before somebody comes to check on me? So when multiple people come up and kind of help you kind of get something, that's an awesome feeling, and you don't get that very often. So I think you guys do a great job.
And
at
occasionally people do sneak in, and we're like, oh, nobody's been to 34 yet. Oh, I'm going right now. Like it does happen. And in the beginning, we had the table set up a little different, and my short self, I couldn't see the counter over the way those tables were. And after a few weeks, I said, we got to move these because I keep missing people at the counter. That's probably why you got 3 people, because I was like, make sure everybody at the counter. But now I can see everybody. Yeah. Which has really helped. But we want people to come in. I think that's something we can maybe talk about, especially for people who aren't local. When you come in, take a seat, We will come to you. We will clean up your basket. You do not have to bust your table. And we want people to have an opportunity in this day and age to come in and really have a break and let us take care of you. There are sometimes we run into situations where there gets to be a little bit of a line. So you just kind of have to look and see if anybody's waiting ahead of you maybe before you walk in and grab the next table. But we try to keep an eye on that. Some days we do better than others, but most people are pretty flexible and it works out, and if you are waiting, it's usually only 10 to 15 minutes because things turn over pretty quick.
Well, I'll give you the positive about waiting to go in a place like that is I want to be talking to somebody I know. Yeah. Right. I'm not going to be standing in line with a whole bunch of strangers. I'm going to be talking to somebody that I know that's been around town that I haven't seen in a while. And so I don't mind waiting in that line. That's a fun line to wait in, as opposed to waiting in a line when you feel like, well, nobody cares if you get your seat. They're not going to wait when you get into the end. You don't know who's in the line. So to me, that's just a really cool feeling. Yeah, yep. And people are going to come in and out that I haven't seen in a long time either. And I'm going to enjoy every bit of that aspect. So.
That's true. I like that.
Yeah. I listen, I have a brother that grew up with me. He's a year younger, lives in Atlanta. And he loves the fact that he never runs into anybody. That's his gig, right? And mine is, if I went a day without running into somebody I knew in St. Augustine, it would be a bad day for me, right? I like running into people that I've known or locals, and you get to see. And that's just the fun part about living in a small town. And I fully embrace that, and I love every bit of that. So.
Yeah, and this town's a lot bigger than when I left it 25 years ago to go to school, and I really never came back, but until 4 years ago. But I did not love how big it was. I'll be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is really weird, because I would go places and not see people I knew. But now people come to see me, and I love it.
Well, my barometer for years, ever since I was a little kid, is when you went over the Bridge of Lions, if you saw somebody driving the other way you knew, then I said the town's not too crowded. And that was my, it's like if I knew somebody coming the other way, I could go like for 4 days in a row before I see somebody I know going over the Bridge of Lions now. It's just, there's so many more people, and there's so many, and that's great. Some of them have made the community phenomenal. They really have
and
dug
I'm
in
glad.
and they made it
I'm
wonderful.
all for new
So,
people. Come
yeah.
in, meet some new local friends. You
Yep.
guys can have a new place to be. And the other day there were some teenagers in there, and I thought, I don't see enough teenagers in here. I guess kids don't skip school anymore because their parents can track them.
So I'm going to tell you that marketing's probably not good. Skip
No,
school. Come
I
see us at the
know. And I'm
wheel.
like, how do I say this without getting parents mad at me? Because I know they skip school to go to the wheel.
We'll sign a fake document.
Yeah, I was like, I won't tell on you. Just come in, and we'll write a pass for you to get back to class.
I'll give you an old Millie's story, because Millie's was right next to St. Joe downtown. And so the St. Joe students would go there for lunch, and the drinking age was 18. So a lot of the seniors were going and having beers and riders and then going back to class.
That is funny.
And this went on for months and months and months until there's probably like, I don't know, 8-10 people in there all having a beer. And one of the sisters of St. Joseph came in. And there's no back exit at Millie's. Right?
Oh, no.
There was no way,
Fire
easy way out
hazard.
the back, right? So they all had to go back out past it. So that was the end. Millie's got banned for a while. And I think it was part of the demise of Millie's, if you want to know. I mean, for me, it's just when the St. Joe kids couldn't go there and get their rider and their beer.
That's hilarious.
So yes, that's a good
story.
It's a good, true St. Augustine story. I knew one of the kids that was actually in there having a beer when it all went down. So I got it from a true source. Kevin Gregory, I won't mention your name. So.
Homeschool high schoolers could come in.
Yeah, come on, homeschoolers. You're not even skipping school.
Well, even your oldest son, Ethan, he goes from high school to college classes, and he's got about an hour. Like in the middle of the day,
he gets a sandwich.
Gets a sandwich.
Washes some dishes.
Very cool.
That's true.
So school isn't as structured as it used to be.
Yeah, so
They
come
don't
on
have to
over,
skip
teenagers.
Yep.
I love when I see parents with their kids in there, and they're teaching them, the tricks and eating the cheese cubes and getting the fries, and like a new generation. I was like, yeah, I love it.
You guys have the best fries too, by the way. They're phenomenal French fries. So many of the fries don't taste like fries anymore. I don't taste like anything. I don't know where you're sourcing it, but they're really, really good fries.
We've had comments about your French fries, your cheese cubes, and your fried mushrooms.
Oh yeah,
in
the fried
addition to
mushrooms.
everyone's favorite sandwich.
Yes. The fried mushrooms are good. They're kind of like a little sleeper cell on the menu. They're so good, and every time somebody orders them, I get excited because it's just kind of a unique item that we have, and they're really delicious. And the cubes, the first time we had a cheese cube was when we were trying things out for the restaurant.
Yeah, we were kind of limited as kids as what we could order going in the back door. My dad never wanted us to take advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
He's like, you get a turkey on white.
Yep.
Maybe half a handful of fries, or we'll split a basket of fries. Is what it was, So I never even had a rider up until we started doing this. There was occasionally I'd get turkey and a pita, but I was also a pretty simple, like plain type of kid, like meat and cheese only, or even just meat, no veggies, nothing. So I was thoroughly happy with the turkey on white, maybe a little salt and pepper.
Yeah, the lettuce on the turkey on white, that was my go-to. But yeah, I said to my dad, I was like, Dad, everybody loves these cheese cubes, and what is the big deal? I've never even had one. He said, well, I wouldn't let you have those because they're expensive. So
Yeah.
when you're eating for free, you don't get the cheese cubes. I was like, oh, okay, I guess that makes sense.
So
Now it makes sense.
Well, it's so funny. We grew up with the Klukes were a little bit older than us. They'd started the Sports Corner, and their kids grew up with our kids. So Drew Kluke, great young man, but he's about 8 or 9 years old. He's over at the house one day, and my son Reese looks, and he says, "Those shoes, Drew, those are the new whatever shoes, right?" He's like, "Oh yeah, they're free."
For him.
And Darcy and I are dying laughing, right? Because to Drew, everything in that store
was free.
free.
I'm sure my 10-year-old feels the same way.
Everything was free.
I'm like, you can have one candy bar a week.
Yeah. Well, we learned early on this basketball shoes. We were a basketball family, and some of those shoes were crazy. We're like, we're giving you this much family money to buy a shoe. The rest of it's your money. You would see them work their way down to a reasonably priced shoe because they don't want to put their money into the.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, we're not buying a $150 pair of shoes that you're going to grow out of in about 2 weeks.
That's how I feel about soccer cleats.
No. Yeah.
But yeah, so we really just, I don't know, we were really grateful that Aunt Antia ran the kind of place that she did, that she built that legacy. That was hers. It really has gotten people in the door. And hopefully what they're experiencing when they come in is what keeps bringing them back.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I feel a lot of gratitude to this community because, like we said, we were so nervous that first day. We didn't know how many people were going to show up, and that it was so many people.
Mm-hmm.
We have gotten a lot faster. If you were standing in that line that Saturday, like the staff is fully trained now. Like we are not just, figuring it out. I mean, that they were still reading the menu and like, what goes on this? And, that slows you down. And we got a bigger prep table and everything's a lot faster than it used to be. So, try us again if you came that first week and it wasn't quite what you wanted. We've worked out some kinks.
So Bobby, one of our longtime listeners, and I want to tell Bobby, you were right. It was Marty's. Yeah. Marty's was the restaurant. You're 100% right. That was where the CVS
Marty's Seafood.
Marty's Seafood.
I remember Marty's. Good job.
Bobby and Tim.
Yep, Bobby and Tim, you guys are awesome. But Bobby wants to know what's the difference. Define a Ryder sandwich versus other sandwiches. Because apparently, Bobby, you've never had one, but tomorrow you're going to the wheel. You're going to get one. So
make sure you say hi, Bobby.
Yeah, we'll show you tomorrow, Bobby.
The rider, I call it the rider sometimes when I'm taking it to the table because people are like, I got the rider. It's like, well, you got the turkey rider. Every rider comes with lettuce, tomato, mayo, Swiss American cheese, which you also can't get at the grocery store. It's a blended cheese and it's really good. Although some people want to swap it for provolone. That's okay. We'll do that for you. A little bit of mayo and the house dressing. What changes is the meat, turkey, roast beef. And the rider has ham, salami, and turkey in it. One of each,
But the pita is what pulls it all
together. But the
together.
pita pulls it all together.
That's what I like to say. It's like we can put all that other stuff on a couple slices of white bread and it's just a sandwich. And it turns into the rider once you get it in that nice little pita pocket.
It's awesome. It is awesome. Bobby, the French fries are amazing. I would never try the fried mushrooms, but you might. Amanda's going to have a double helping of those. I can already tell.
No, I already
house
put
made
it in
ranch.
the comments. I'm like you. I don't do mushrooms, but I will do those to you.
They're always really hot, so be careful. Burn your tongue on the first
Oh,
bite.
no. My wife, I'm ordering the fried mushrooms for her. She'll eat this. But yeah. But
did they have any other questions?
No. I think anything else you got?
I don't think we missed anything. A lot of people are saying that you guys created what you set out to create. You created a place where locals can be locals and they can be family. And so good job, guys.
Thank you. That makes me, I'm so emotional, but it might be my age. But that makes me feel like we're on the right track. And we hope that, the next few decades, we'll be doing that, and this can just be a place people come home to.
Awesome.
I've seen so many people that I went to school with that also moved away or people will tell me I live such and such now, and they're there. They came there, and that's really cool too.
Yeah, I think you guys have hit it out of the park, right? And I really am excited that you decided to come in because this is our last week, and
I know I didn't know that until you said it.
I go, he's quitting, and we're not going. But I did because I could tell when I was in there that you really cared about what you were doing, and you were really excited about it, and I wanted people to get that feeling. And if I wanted them to get like this much of that feeling, you guys got to hear. You guys were just amazing today. You really were. You can tell how much you love what you're doing. You can tell how much you love your family. You can tell how much you love your family history. And you're glad that you're carrying it on. And so all of that is just awesome. Kudos to you guys. Hats off. And yeah, I want you guys to do extremely, extremely well. So, because that's what being a part of a family and a family business is. And I get that, right? I may get that more than most people. And there's a lot of family businesses here that that are still running and going, and they're awesome. And so, yeah, I really appreciate the fact that you guys are doing this, and a whole nother generation. And you got kids coming up behind you that are cleaning dishes and stuff.
Yeah. Well, and if you look at our latest, I think it's most recent social media post, I posted a series of photos with Tony teaching my middle son, Landon, how to make some sandwiches. And it's really cool.
Yeah. Listen, congratulations. You guys are gonna continue to do really well.
Thank you.
Great family, great story.
Yeah.
We will be back tomorrow. Levi's coming in tomorrow.
Yeah.
Do we have a guest tomorrow? I don't think we have a guest tomorrow.
Did you book one?
I didn't book one.
I didn't either.
And I didn't either. And then we have the Bollocks boys coming in on Thursday.
Yes.
And we'll probably have drinks Thursday.
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah, BYOB on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yes. Maybe BYO sandwich too. So maybe we'll work that.
Catered
We might have to get something to go and bring
Yeah.
it over here. So, all right, you guys, thank you very much.
Thank you guys.
Andrea,
Thank you.
Tony, you guys are awesome. Say hello to the family.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Thank you.
Amanda and everyone else, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.